So the internet is upset at the fact that this woman is expected to cook dinner for her husband after she works a 13-hour shift. So I had no issue with this at all. In a marriage, there are certain things that you are expected to do, and that's why a lot of people should not be married nowadays. But let's look at the comment section and see exactly why people had such an issue with this. So we have one comment right here that says, do I really want a husband? If you have to ask that question, ask yourself this instead. Does a husband, or does somebody who is husband material actually want you? The answer is probably no. Let's continue. We have somebody right here that says him expecting it is crazy. Now, that'll be the same person who expects you to pay all the bills. That'll be the same person who expects you to take out the trash in the morning times. All I'm saying is there are certain things in a relationship, no matter if you're married or not married, that is expected of you. Now let's pause for a second. The word expectation was riddled throughout this entire comment section, so I think that is where people got set off. It's not the fact that she's cooking after a 13-hour shift. There's some people who was in the comment section who said that she should have at least changed her scrub out, but hey, that's another conversation for another day. What I will say, however, is the fact that if you're in some type of serious relationship, there are certain things that are going to be expected of you to do, but a lot of people cannot handle that because they cannot handle the sacrifice that it actually takes in order to nurture a healthy and mature relationship like they have. And a lot of people did not know this. She had to go and tell her backstory. But let's get into a few more of the comments that were inside that comment section before we get into her side of the story. Now this person right here says never this. Now I'm pretty sure once she realizes this couple's backstory and see how successful that they are, she'll regret that comment. But hey, what you see on the internet is not all that the script entails. So let's continue to some actual positive comments here. This one says, just went out of my way to tell you that you, ma'am, are a real woman and real one woman. That's funny. And an excellent wife. Your husband found a unicorn. Let's look at this comment as well, which actually makes more sense than anything I've seen. This one right here says, as long as he is returning the effort, I don't see anything wrong with this. Me neither. And comment right here says, I ain't. Now I ain't gonna lie, it says I ain't. If you spell I ain't like that, you gotta be from the South. Ain't no way you anywhere else but the South. But this one says, I ain't gonna lie. If y'all read the comment, she says she don't see any bills in her house. Get husband handles it, baby. I'll be cooking too. All of them be cooking if they knew exactly what was going down in that household. But with that being said, let's go ahead and run her side of the story and get more information.
2 months ago, a video of mine went super viral. And before you say it's been 2 months, let it go. A few days ago, for some reason, it picked up traction and started going viral again. And that has made me realize something. There are a lot of comments on that video, and a lot of the comments are very sad. And at least to me, I think that they're sad. And here's why. It makes me realize that a lot of us, or a lot of you guys, have never seen or been in a healthy relationship.
All right, now she heard some feelings with that one. Now I do agree. A lot of y'all have not ever once seen a healthy relationship in your life, and you don't know what that looks like. A lot of y'all love that toxicity.
And a big part of that is because we are so much on social media. And so the thing that we see, it's either the $35,000 ring or the $1,500 ring. There's no in between. And so when we see something that deviates from the norm, because the norm for us is the $35,000 ring, we think that there's an issue. And I saw a lot of that in my comments, because a lot of the comments were, I'm a slave, you guys would never do that, you would never get into a relationship like that, you don't want to get married, I don't value myself, my husband's a bum. And, you know, the comments goes on and on and on and on.
Now, I want to stop right here and say shout out to the brother, because he is a surgeon. A lot of people did not know that from that first video. All they saw was the wife coming home and cooking, but they did not know that the husband was also a surgeon, and he works long hours just like she does. And so both of them have to balance this thing and put in crazy work.
First off, our specialties. I'm an internal medicine resident. And Shanali is a general surgery resident. Yes.
And let me just say this, and this is not to brag at all, but my husband and I have been together for almost 7 years now. And he asked me to be his girlfriend one day after our first date. And he bought a ring less than a year after we started dating, and he proposed, and we got married about 2.5, almost 3 years after we started dating. This is the healthiest, most mature and loving relationship, God-centered, that I have ever been in. And I've only been in 2 relationships, and I started dating my husband I was 22.
Well, that's interesting. They got together very early and married very early. In today's standards, I think a lot of people see early marriages as something that's going to fail. But if you really think about it, it's a great opportunity for you to grow with somebody and see life together, experience new things together. So, hey, I applaud it, and I appreciate her for laying that down and showing people that, hey, just because you get married early doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is going to be any less.
And one of the things about my husband is that he came from, or he grew up in a model marriage. His mom and his dad got married, they were teenagers, and when I tell you it's a relationship that I admire, and my husband, now this is the only part I will brag about, my husband has 0 childhood trauma, 0. And that's something that I am blessed to have.
Now let's look at those comments and actually think about that for a second and take what she said in the context. A lot of people bring a lot of baggage into relationships that don't have anything to do with the person that you are in a relationship with. And what does that do exactly? That brings the entire relationship down. So for her, that was very special. That was something that she could brag about. Think about that. She could brag about the fact that her husband is not bringing in trauma, baggage into the relationship. Get yourself together before you start trying to put yourself together with somebody else.
And so one of the things that you recognize when you get into a mature, healthy relationship is there's no, I'd rather my husband starve. Like, I could never think that, and I could never do that. I would much rather see my husband eat a plate that I made out of love and clean his plate. I love watching him do that, actually. It's one of my favorite things. I'm a self-proclaimed chef, and trust me when I say he thinks he's Keith Lee. But when you get into those types of relationships, when you have someone who is willing to do any and everything for you, when you have someone who worships the ground you walk on, doing things like that for them comes easy.
See, now the sister is preaching. When you can look at your significant other after you do something for them that you know that they appreciate, and you actually get enjoyment for that, that's when you know you really care about them, when you do something for them and you enjoy just looking at them enjoying what you did for them. I think that's a statement right there.
Doing things like that for them, it's an honor. And when they don't ask for much, it makes you want to give them everything that you have. And I really do pray that a lot of you guys experience that kind of love. And you don't have to want my kind of relationship, and that's okay. I think my relationship is unique to me. It was ordained to me, and it's the relationship that my husband and I have cultivated over the years.
And that's a powerful message as well. Something that works for me may not work for you. Something that works for them may not work for her and them. So what I'm saying is you kind of have to mix and match and see exactly what's going on in your particular relationship. Just know that it's different for everybody. And also be mindful. Everything that you see is probably not what is actually going on behind the scenes. And so when a lot of people saw their relationship, they immediately thought it was one-sided, not knowing that he pays for most, if not all, the bills, not knowing that he is also a surgeon, calling him a bum without actually seeing him, which I think is just super disrespectful. And so just keep that in mind. Everybody's relationship is different. and I love to see what they got going on. Two black successful people. What more could I say?
And I really hope that a lot of the women under that post find the type of man, because I know there's not a lot of them out there, and I am so sorry, but I really do hope that you guys find those types of relationships, or that you guys get to at least experience your friends or your sisters or your brothers or whoever close proximity you can get to one, so you can actually see what those types of relationships look like, and that no sacrifice is too big when you are in those types of relationship. And I don't want to get on the internet and, do all that and defend my husband type thing. Like, that's not what this video is about. And I know I don't have to explain myself. I get that. But it really dampens my heart, and it makes me so sad to see that this is how, we think. And I mean, we're a product of our environment. And so, of course, what we think and say, it's it is a lot about what we see. And so we're not seeing model relationships, and so we're not seeing good, healthy, mature relationships. And so it's very hard to picture them. It's very hard to imagine them. It's very hard to want them. And I wish that for a lot of my women. Like, I really want you guys to have those types of relationships so that you don't have to get on the internet and, bash somebody else's marriage.
I don't think she could have summarized that better. She did a fantastic job of laying out how her relationship is and explaining the fact that all she simply wants is for other people to have a chance to enjoy something like that, because that's probably one of the few things that I think a lot of times we don't see, and it's not promoted as much. As I explained earlier, a lot of people want those toxic relationships that we see, and a lot of times those are the ones that we see in the media and in the spotlight. But I really think that's honestly because most people who have successful relationships don't broadcast it at all, because they don't need to. It's not anything that they really wish to share with the world. They don't want to necessarily put everyone and their mama in their business, because that's one thing that I've learned. When you allow people to come into your relationship, you allow them to put their hands and their eyes on it, usually they ruin it.
Here's the one piece of advice that my husband and I's premarital counselor told us when we first started premarital counseling before we got married 5 years ago, that has stuck with us and is something that we use day in, day out in our marriage. When we first met and we started going to counseling, we knew that a 50-50 marriage was not something that we wanted. We wanted a little bit more traditional, but of course, we're both doctors. And when we got to counseling, one of the things that he pointed out was that there's no 50-50, right? It's you give 100% of yourself, and your significant other gives 100% of themselves. Where it matters most is when you cannot physically give 100% of yourself. So on those days when you can only give, say, 60% or 50% or 30% of yourself for whatever reason, and those times happen, what will it look like? And knowing that you have a partner that is able to give their 100%, but also pick up your 50% or your 40% that you're not able to give, to be able to complete you guys. And that's something that my husband and I use all the time, because, both of us are physicians and we both have rough weeks. And during our very rough weeks, sometimes if my week is hard, I'll say to him, I need you this week. And he knows what that means, and he just do what he needs to do. And I feel like that is a big part of what marriage is, right? Because you're never always going to be able to give 100% of your time, of yourself, and be able to be who you are in your marriage 100% of the time. But having that partner that is gonna always be there to pick up the part that you're not able to do, and without complaint, without any remorse, without any guilt, without making you feel like, damn, I can't give all of myself right now. That's what makes a partnership, right? And that's an advice that I got from our marital counsel. A lot of us are so stuck on that 50-50, and I give my 50%, you give your 50%, but let's be honest, it's never 50%, especially as a woman in a relationship. Like, you're never ever going to be given 50%. And so if you come in with that mindset, that's kind of where you're bound to fail. But if you come in with the mindset that I'm giving 100% myself, but there are going to be times when I can't give 100% of myself, and knowing that I have a partner that is able to pick up that percentage that I can't give and keep us moving, I think that's a recipe for success. Anyways, don't take that from me, because I'm also expected to cook, and I'm a cook. Yeah, so bye.
I thought this was an interesting piece, an interesting video. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comment section. Like, comment, also subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one.